How's it going, guys? Welcome to Watch It Drive. I'm your host, RodZ. Today we got two special guests, Mr. Alex and Bryan, which you guys seen before. Let's give them a hand of applause.
Hand of applause. Hand. Wow. Okay.
Just left us hanging. So today this podcast is going to be a little bit different. We're going to discuss about the challenges that photographers and videographers have when it comes to shooting clients, cars, etc., making videos for everybody. So both of these guys are professional.
Well, you just can't throw around the professional tag like that, bro. Mediocre at best.
Okay, mediocre professionals.
Damn, he said mediocre and then whoa. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's
He
fitting.
just shit on you, bro.
I mean, it's accurate.
This guy who hasn't even been doing it that long shit on you. That's crazy.
I like how he's like being like, "Oh, this Fast Lane Productions guy. Nobody knows who I am. I'm not important."
You guys are horrible. But all seriousness, we want to know, tell you guys what everybody experiences is when it comes to shooting photography and getting business and growing your own platform, as a whole. So my first question to you guys is going to be, how do you determine what kind of camera you want to start shooting with?
We're playing nose goes here.
Rock, paper, scissors?
I missed that one. So
Reaction of a dick.
So Bryan, how did you determine to go with?
yeah, that's right.
That's how it goes.
Slowest can second.
Oh my god. Alright, so when I first started out, I started with a Canon. I had a T3i, a little Rebel T3i, and it's all I used for like 7 years. And then when I started my job with, at the time I think it was Cadillac or something.
Mm-hmm.
They used a Nikon, and I wasn't a huge fan of Nikon. It was just, the whole thing was just weird. They didn't have really great lenses at the time, and it just felt weird in my hand. Canon's always been good for me. It's felt good. It's a big camera. It's really made for bigger handed people. No Diddy. And then you got these weirdos that shoot with Sonys, and I don't know. It's not for me. It's a tiny ass camera. So for me, it's Canon all the way.
So, Mr.
What?
Alex?
Because I have tiny hands, I went with Sony. No, when I started getting into photography, I was recommended to start with a Sony A6400. That was the first ever camera I started with, and then
All fancy right away.
slowly progressed and moved into a Sony A7 III.
Okay.
And I have a small rig cage on mine because I don't like how small Sony's are, so I got a cage for it to actually make it a little bit of a bigger grip.
It's pretty awesome.
You like
And
ripping big things?
Clearly you do.
Big black things.
oh my god. So talking to these two guys is how I ended up getting my camera when I first started looking for cameras and asked them a bunch of questions in order to buy something that suited me at the time. Which was awesome. Thank you both. Shoot. Do you guys believe the prime lenses are better than zoom lenses in certain situations?
I hardly ever use primes.
Why?
I'm poor. I just don't. I don't have the need. Like I like the versatility of a super zoom or even just a regular telephoto. Because you never know at what point. Let's say all you have is one camera. If you have a prime, you're stuck with that, and you could be in a situation where like a 400 mil f2 or f4 ain't gonna work indoors, right?
Right.
Let's say you're shooting an event or you're shooting a wedding and all you bring is a 400 f4, you're kind of screwed. So I just want versatility. So I go with telephotos or even wides, but it's got to have some sort of range to it.
And see, I'm kind of the same boat. For my day-to-day work stuff, I really need the versatility of a zoom lens that I can go between different millimeters and things like that. But I do love the look of a prime lens. I have my 85 millimeter, and that's great for like private photo shoots, things that I have a lot more time where I can take the time to switch between lenses. But yeah, I don't really see like I need a prime lens for the most part.
Well, I guess some of the zoom lenses will have the millimeter that a prime lens will be like, and then it gives you extra, right?
Even like your nifty 50s or your 35s, I've had a 51.8, and I never used it. I think I used it twice, and it just stays in my bag. Well, now it's not even gonna fit these, but I just don't use it.
So recently I started doing the portrait stuff, and then I come to find out I didn't know that the certain lenses will give you like the zoom by like 1.6 or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's usually like a 1.6 or 1.
So it makes the lens a different. So like, for example, I bought a 24 millimeter like pancake one, right? And then with the adapter and then with the zoom, it made it into like a 35 or like 40 millimeter lens. I was very surprised when.
Well, you're gonna get that with a crop sensor. If you have full frame, then it is what it is. If you get a 35 on a crop, it's gonna be around what, like a 50 to 60.
Yeah,
but if you get a full frame, that 35 is 35.
Oh, okay.
And it's like if you were like, especially for videos too. You know, a lot of people have the AC35.
Sure.
It's basically just a 35, like shooting on a crop sensor.
Oh,
So like even on my full frame, I have a quick button where I can just press it, and it brings in that focal length a little bit more.
that's the.
Oh wow, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Yeah, I know. This Sony thing's not.
Well, actually,
Big
no.
things.
Well, I mean, the Canon you could set like the buttons to do whatever you want, but
We got that too.
the cool thing is like I never thought about doing that. You know, like actually putting it on a button so it could be like easy access. That's kind of smart. That's a good tip.
Yeah, it's like stuff like that. It's like these are the things nobody tells you.
Yeah,
Kinda
you just
figure
kind of
it out as
gotta
you go on.
I was like, hey, what's this button do?
So how do you guys feel about people that say my phone takes just as good photos as your camera does?
Fuck those people. Sorry.
I mean, I was gonna actually kind of say it depends on who we're talking about. 'Cause sometimes I mean, the phone does a good job for the average person.
I think for the type of thing you're shooting, a phone works. Like if you're just like shooting for like social media, or you're shooting for, I don't know, like a family function event type of thing, then a phone works. It's just ease of access. It's just way easier to get your hands on. But if you're out there shooting like a wedding, or you're shooting some other event, or motorsports, or any kind of sports, phone's not quick enough.
No.
Also,
Okay.
you need the file size to be pretty damn big, because some of these people want like wall prints, and I'm talking like the whole wall. You're not going to get that with a phone. You're going to have so much pixelization, and
It's gonna look grainy.
it's probably going to be grainy as hell, or it's not going to be sharp.
And that's the biggest thing is like, when you do like events and things like that, you need to kind of know where your client's head is at, because you don't want to go into it thinking you're going to shoot one thing and then they're like, oh, I want to put a big poster. Well, my camera might not be capable of doing that. It just kind of depends on the situation.
Now, that being said, my last wedding, I had a Canon 80D that had over like 2 million shutter clicks, right? And I took it to a wedding, and the shutter stopped working right before the wedding started. So I didn't have a second camera. All I had was my phone and the videographer. Luckily, she had like a Sony A6 or something. And I was like, let me just borrow this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of winging it. But I ended up using my phone for some of the wedding shots. Now, if you've done this for a while and you understand the fundamentals, then using a phone could work, right? If you set up the shot right, or you set up your settings, it'll work. But if you're just getting into photography, it's probably a good idea to use your phone to practice.
When you say getting the fundamentals down, can you elaborate on like what you're talking about for people that don't know?
Fundamentals, and it's not. It doesn't even come down to like shooting manual, right? Everybody wants to shoot manual, but the fundamentals would be shoot auto, experiments with different shots, learning your thirds rule or what have you. You know, stage your shot like you want it to. Those are the fundamentals. Then after you've mastered that, I say mastered, because everybody's still learning, even people that have been doing this for years, right? You know, once you've mastered that, then you can get a camera and be like, all right, I want to play around with my ISO or my aperture or my shutter speed. I want to do all of this stuff that the phone, I mean, newer phones can do that now, but you'll have much more capable technologies in a camera than you will a phone. Because I think most phones have like a super low aperture, right? It's like f2, f1. It's crazy.
Yeah,
and you can't go any higher than that. It's just that it's a prime. It's a prime all the time. Right?
Okay. Well, I will say now, like iPhones, you can adjust that a little bit. So now, so like,
but it's not a lot, right? It'd be like
no, like
f2 to like f4.
No, like f2 to f9.
What?
Like maybe a little higher.
Like my new iPhone goes to f1.4, I think it is.
I gotta look at some
Samsung
stuff.
owners. But see, this is the first problem. Okay, Samsung owner, iPhone users.
Hi, Air 5.
See, I'll give you a high five. But yeah, but like Brian was saying, it's like, you know, shoot on your phone, understand how to take a photo. Because to me, I feel like a lot of it is just having an eye for it and then just understanding your equipment as you're using it. So like, if you have an eye for what you're looking to get out of the photo or whatever you're doing, you know, you already are a step ahead of a lot of people. So a lot of people just walk up, go, this is a picture, take the picture, and they go, look how cool this is. But what a lot of people don't think about is, what if you shoot it from a different angle? Can really change up the feel, the look, everything about a photo just by having that artistic eye to it.
So to piggyback off of that, like, so when you go do a photo shoot, let's say of a car, because we all love taking cars photos, do you have any set, like, let's say like 3 pictures that you must have that you want to give your client always?
Personally, for me, always a good full photo. I mean, make sure you always capture the entire car. I like to do either a low 3/4 rear end shot, or I do a high up 3/4 like hood shot, and then just making sure like you capture like the interior. I feel like when you take your photos, you need to have at least the basics. Once you capture those basics, that's when you can kind of experiment. Oh, what if I take it from a lower angle? What if I get higher? Anything from you?
So mine goes from 1 to 2.8.
Well, join the iPhone world that we can have.
Yeah, but you know, my moon pictures are fire.
We don't need to talk about your moon picture. That's another podcast.
So Brian,
Oh, I got 30 times zoom.
We get it, Samsung.
kind of compensating for something. It got to look a lot bigger, you know. If we zoom
Listen,
in.
he's already been talking about his hand size, and everything, like 30 times zoom. And he drives a Civic. Come on now.
He comes with the biggest lens we've ever seen. Puts it on the table. Shows dominance.
He's trying to assert his dominance here.
So Brian, is there any like top 3 like pictures that you must give your client whenever you're shooting a car?
I don't really know if it's like top 3. I'd like to.
Like, what's your favorite 3 like positions?
Oh,
like better word.
I'd like to know my positions. Okay.
Take
Let's
pictures
grab
of
the
the
big
car.
lens. Show us how it's done.
Yeah, I kind of.
Oh, quick action.
God, I'm black.
That's what that's like.
That's crazy. It's crazy because the white lenses are usually bigger.
We're gonna get canceled so fast.
This is not even gonna hit the air and be like, Control Alt Delete.
So like when I do client shoots for like automotive, I usually cover the basics. Like you'll have your exterior. I kind of like the 3/4 shot. It's my thing because I shoot it every day at work.
Same.
I try to do interiors as much as possible. I'm not a huge interior guy, and not a lot of people are. They're like, my interior is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll do like detail shots, right? Because the detail shots versus everything else is completely different, right? You want the close-ups on stuff that either may not matter or people that don't see very often, and those are my specialties, right? Everybody loves a detail shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, detail shots.
I will say, since we're broadening it other than the 3, Brian.
Well, that was 3, right?
I mean, detail shots.
You got your
multiple
exterior,
shots.
you got your exterior, interior, and your detail shots.
But yes.
What more do you need?
I mean,
Engine, maybe.
no, but see, that can fall under the category of details.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, really?
I mean, like when you think about it, if you go under the hood, like for instance, your car, you've got a turbo. Okay, well that's technically a detail shot.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. Don't mind us NA boys over here.
A slow boys.
Just very slow boy. Honestly, does our horsepower even come close to his combined?
No, not at all.
I didn't think so.
Well,
He's in
To
his
be
own
honest.
category.
He
To
said
be
you're
honest.
compensating.
I did drive Brian's car and it blew my mind. I've never driven a Civic before, so I was like mind blown. I was like, holy shit, this car is fucking fun.
They're slow.
I see what the hype is about. Well, the handling, the way he has it set up. Like, because we were coming back from CMP and there's some like good turns a little bit coming back and the car felt really balanced. So I was very,
Feel it now.
really,
I got a lot of stuff done yesterday.
damn.
I didn't do it, but someone else did.
Oh, so you're bought not built, sir?
Yeah. Was how much the bill was yesterday? Yeah. Yeah.
That's another topic for itself right there too.
Yeah.
Because if you have the funds in order, to free up your time, why not pay for it?
And I feel like we're starting to get away from the whole built not bought thing. Like, I feel like it was a big thing when I first started getting into the community, but I feel like now it's more of just, as long as you show some type of originality, that's what I'm looking for in cars nowadays.
Bro, I work at a dealership. Yeah, they're gonna work on my car. I ain't got time to do that.
So now that you mentioned that, you said you did when we were talking off camera, you do freelancing photography, and you actually work for a dealership.
Yeah,
How
but
do you
I
both-
do both though.
Well, like, how do you go about like getting both jobs? Like, how did you go and pitch? Like, hey, you just showed up and was like, hey, let me shoot your cars. I'm here. I'm Brian.
Because, like, you shoot full time at
Yeah,
Lexus, whereas, like, I'm technically contractor.
but I've done both.
Yeah.
So how do you go about like getting both, per se, whoever wants to take it?
I feel like the biggest thing is just confidence. Take your chances, because the worst case scenario, somebody's going to say no. I mean, you miss 100% of the opportunities if you don't take them.
Right.
So it's like, if you're interested in getting into a field, even if you don't have the full knowledge, go out and try it. Go try to get a contract. I mean, we've all had good contracts, bad contracts. I mean, you get some clients that are great, some clients that are bad, and it's just part of the game. But you learn through each one, like, how to be better.
Mine actually started as a contract, but not how you would think. So, I think at the time I was in the food industry, which I would never ever do again, ever.
Same.
Couldn't pay me enough to do that. But I filled out a contract application for a social media gig, and it was just to go out and shoot dealerships in the Charlotte area that were owned by Sonic Automotive. And all you had to do was take like 50 or so photos of the building, exterior, interior, service area, and maybe some like detail stuff, and then send it in, right? Well, the dealerships that I went to were looking for, I guess like contract people like you, like just strictly like inventory photographers, right?
Oh, okay.
And so I've done just about every single third party inventory photographer, Auto Uplink, Excite, some other people. And they're cool. Like when you first start, it's cool. You get paid a lot. However, you're traveling a lot. You could cover like, depending on your area, you could cover like 6 dealerships in one day.
Holy crap.
And my route was like Belmont, Gastonia area, and then I'd have to travel all the way to Monroe in the same day.
Jesus. Yeah, it's across town.
That's when I had my Civic, my EF, right? Mm-hmm. Also, when you do those, they give you a printer. And when I was doing, they gave you a Palm Pilot. You know what that is, right?
Oh, which one?
Nope.
You don't know what a Palm Pilot is?
No.
It's like before this. So you know, like the notes, like the Samsung notes and stuff.
Oh.
It comes with a pen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Maybe I have heard of it. I just don't remember it.
I seen it. I just didn't know the name of it. I know what you're
I'm
talking
showing
about.
my age, Mike. They give you a Palm Pilot and a printer, and they give you all the window stickers and stuff, and you would have to print your own stickers from your car, right? And then upload either via Wi-Fi or you upload it on a computer inside the dealership, right? And one of the dealerships was looking for a porter, like a service porter, and I was like, man, screw driving fucking 50 miles a day.
In your own personal car.
Yeah, my own personal car, and just eating up, all your consumables and stuff. And it was at Cadillac in Pineville. And I was like, well, I'll just do a porter for maybe a year or so. And then they're like, oh, we need a photographer. And we knew you shot our dealership for this other company. Would you want to, sign on? I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then I did that for that company for 6 years, right?
Holy crap. That's a long time.
Started. So technically, I've been doing inventory photography since 2012.
Wow.
Damn.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And here
I
we
didn't
are.
realize it was that long.
Yeah, here we are, 12 years old, right?
Yeah.
So I was with Sonic Automotive for 6 years. I did Cadillac and Infiniti. And then in 2018, I went to Hendrick, Lexus in Northlake. And I only got that job because my friend who worked at the Charlotte location put a good word in. And he's like, hey, this guy fucks. You should hire him.
Said it just like that.
Yeah, pretty much. So I've been with Lexus since 2018 and strictly doing photography.
That's pretty cool. So when you do like videos and take photos for a dealership, or when you get a contract, are you allowed to use those on your own like portfolio to like widen your brand?
For me, I wouldn't even include it in a portfolio because the shots that you're taking at a dealership are completely different.
Yes.
Really?
It's like a time to market thing. So you're trying to get the photos of those cars online as soon as possible so that the dealership can make money, right? You want some sort of clean shots for that, but they're not artistic shots by any means, right?
Yeah,
It's just
okay.
it's
Very
strictly
basic.
a time to market thing, right? And
Strictly business, I guess.
yeah,
Pretty
and it's not something I would put in my portfolio. Now, if I get all my stuff done and I want to do something for social media, or I go off site and shoot something, yeah, those shots I'm going to use because I have artistic freedom in where I go, where I stage, and how I shoot it, and how I edit it. So,
Right.
And that brings up a good point too. Is like, yeah, inventory photos. I'm sorry, there's nothing sexy about them. It's just very like basic, and it's sometimes the cars are cool and what you're shooting, but at the same time, like Brian's saying, it's just basic shots. If you want to be more artistic, you want to really show off like what you're really capable of. Because I feel like, I don't know how you feel about it, but when I go to these dealerships and I'm shooting for inventory, I feel like it is dumbed down to the point where I'm like,
it is.
just take your photos and just move on kind of deal.
And what's crazy is like a lot of people want that position, right? They think it's a creative role. It's not. It could lead to a creative role, but it is a time management thing. It's not an artistic role whatsoever. So you'll have people that come in, and I hate putting my my name out there for people that want this type of position, and then it doesn't work out because they're like, well, I didn't get to do this, this, and this, or they went in with this laundry list of I want this type of camera, I want this type of lens. You guys should pay for it because this is what you expect me to do. I'm like, no, that's not.
They're gonna be like, bro, just take your phone out and snap these.
Yeah, and a lot of companies now just use phones. They tried to get me to use a phone, and the system that they use, I hate that system. It sucks ass.
Impel?
No, it's I'll remember it, but it sucks. I've been using it for years. The app system never works right. The amount of photos that you have to take in order doesn't make sense.
No.
So they give you like a breakdown sheet. Be like, okay, you're gonna walk from the front of the car, photo, until you get like a whole 360.
Snap lock is what it's called. I hate it.
I think they renamed it.
Thank God.
Because I think it is Impel, because it's the same thing that I'm using right now. Because I used Snaplot when I used to work with Hendrick.
Yeah.
But same thing. It's basically a guideline. So it tells you, okay, you're going to take these photos. In like one of my contracts, I use my regular camera, so I use my Sony for it. But the other contract I'm working right now, I'm literally just shooting on my phone.
Interesting.
And so, like when I use my camera for them, I have to edit them and I have to have them uploaded by the end of the night.
Yeah.
So you got to think, if I'm waking up in the morning, driving like an hour, 15, hour and 30 minutes away, shooting all day, coming home, editing all that, and then having to upload all the cars, sometimes it may take me till midnight.
Holy crap! Especially like,
and for me, I've been doing this forever, right? So for me, it takes me a little under 3 minutes to shoot a whole car, exterior, interior, and then upload, right?
Well, because it's like a system. You just rotating through it.
Now,
you just get into a habit.
Yeah.
Can I edit stuff? Sure. Now, like if there's a scratch or has some body work that we're eventually going to fix, but see, like us is we don't let the car go through the shop and through recon and stuff and then shoot it afterwards, because that just kills your time to market.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just shoot everything right as it comes in as a trade-in, right? And then if I need to edit something like a dent or something I know that we're going to fix, I'll just do it then. It's not going to take a whole lot of time. And that's when you really need to have your Photoshop skills and your Lightroom skills fine-tuned so that you can do all this stuff super fast. And then that in turn will make editing your artistic stuff way
For more inspiring content, follow What's Your Drive on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, comment, or share. And now, back to the video.
Well, so kind of going on what you said though, now like when I edit, my editing is not removing things. I want to make that clear. Because like for us, because I'm a contractor, I don't know what they're going to do for the dealership. Because like I don't want to edit out, let's say there's a scratch on the car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to edit it out because what if they don't fix it? Or kind of the whole thing of what if somebody goes and looks at that car expecting a perfect looking car and they get there and it's got a scratch on it, the wheels curved. That's a reflection on you, not on.
It's kind of like forced marketing.
Because we always get those random ass customers that are like, hey, I bought my car 4 months ago. I've got a scratch on this, or I've got a dent on this, and
they'll come back and try.
They want us to. They'll come back.
The photos.
Yeah, they'll come back and be like, "Hey, do you have photos of this?" And I don't really save anything.
Right.
I just upload, edit, delete.
Well, people don't realize how much memory space, like raw files and stuff, take on your camera.
And I don't even shoot raw for this stuff. It's all JPEG. Because like I said, I'm not editing anything. Usually not editing anything. I try not to edit anything, right? Shoot and go, man.
So, not to change the subject, but now that you mentioned like JPEG and raw, can you guys like give like a brief explanation to somebody that wouldn't know what it is?
On Google it? Let me give you the definitive definition.
Like, to the best of your ability, I guess.
I mean, to me, I just have always been told RAW versus JPEG. RAW just has a lot more editing capabilities, just like how people will tell you to shoot in log for videos and things like that, because it gives you that broader range of colors and things to kind of adjust.
Like color grade, pretty much.
Yeah, like what if you mess up the ISO or you mess up, you didn't expose it right or whatever. At least RAW, you'll have a little bit more opportunity to maybe save that photo.
Right.
Whereas like sometimes JPEG, from what I gathered, I've always been shooting in RAW. But what's the definitive answer, Brian?
Here's probably gonna make a joke about your raw dogging over there.
He said, I shoot in RAW.
Always have,
He
always
likes it
will.
raw.
If anybody pay attention, you looked at his dad hat. So we
I don't know
definitely
what
know
you're
that
talking
he
about.
likes to shoot on raw.
I totally
Professional, that's all I need to know.
I totally did not look up what's the difference, but
Uh,
I mean, in a nutshell, like shooting in RAW gives you a lot of control over your image. It saves way more data. So, like for instance, I fucked up today when I shot that event at work. I thought I put it in RAW, and that happens a lot, right? I thought I did, and it shoots in JPEG, and I go into Lightroom, and I'm like, great, all the sliders are not where they're supposed to be, right? And you go in there, and you don't have a whole lot of data to work with. And then I fixed it. I went back and shot more, and I put it back in RAW, but it just gives you more adjustability for fine tuning.
And real quick, talking about that, that's also why I shoot only in RAW, because I'm the type of person, I'll forget to go back, and I'll be pissed at myself when I get home if I were to do it.
so the other day I got hired to do some like photos for like a gender reveal. And normally I know we don't send people the raw files, but since they're like friends and family, I wanted to hook them up, be like, hey,
Bro,
take
it's
a look.
just called a reveal. There are no genders.
The reveal.
They're seven.
I was like, what? So, I want to send them the files. They could open it on their phones and download them, but they try to put it on Lightroom. If you don't pay for the apps, because the file is so big, it doesn't let you do anything with the photo. So, like, I would have had to...
that open RAW anyway to begin with.
Say what?
There's not a lot of apps that open RAW to begin with.
No, I mean, I was surprised because I shot, like, raw before, but, like, I was like, I don't understand. Like, why are you having trouble? It kind of got me aggravated, but I'm glad it happened to somebody that I know, because now when, obviously, if somebody asks for all the files, they're going to have to pay for it.
Well, like we said, it's all about trial and error.
Yeah, so now I've learned, just in case somebody does ask for the files again, I don't have to go through the process of putting every freaking picture in Lightroom and then re-downloading them so they'd be able to open, because that'll be a lot of work.
And then you run into the issues where like a new camera comes out and like Lightroom doesn't even have access to those RAW files, right? Like they're not programmed into the system. So like when the Sony A7 or when Sony came out in general, they're like, hey, here's the RAW files for all your mirrorless cameras, and it's like, we can't process any of this because it doesn't come up in the profile.
Interesting.
Is it kind of like when you get a new phone and it's like trying to find a case?
Yeah.
You're very limited
Pretty
on
much.
kind of what you have because it hasn't been developed
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. So my next question to you guys is, do you think shooting a higher end vehicle makes you a better photographer versus shooting somebody else's project, like a project car?
No.
No.
Why? Like,
Genuinely, I just feel like it doesn't matter what you shoot. If you don't. Okay.
I'll get there.
Okay, it matters a little bit.
I get there.
But, I mean, it's just like, if you want to think about it from this perspective, do y'all remember the trend when people were shooting trash cans and, like, shopping carts?
Yeah.
yes.
It's funny, but it's the whole principle of, like, to me, photography and doing videography is just expressing your creative thoughts. Like, so, yeah, it's great shooting Ferraris and McLarens and things like that, but is it make or break you? Not really. I feel like you need to just go out and shoot. Have fun with it.
Right.
Brian.
Okay, so I have this friend Noah, right? He has an Explorer ST or whatever it is, and he's like, "Hey man, you want to shoot my Explorer ST?" And I'm like, "Not really." And I'm gonna, whenever this goes live, I'm gonna send it to him. I'll be like, "Timestamp."
You know what? I talk shit. Just skip past this part.
And I tell him all the time, I was like, "Bro, it's a stock car. Like you have some motor work done to it. You have some." He's like, "I got brand new tires." I'm like, "Awesome,
Cool.
But I want something that's interesting. You know, all your supercars, right? They're always going to be interesting. It doesn't matter what they are. You could be the most basic supercar in the world. It's cool, right? Me shooting an Altima,
Not so
stock
cool.
gas Altima, it's not for me. Now,
That's
if I'm at work, you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
And I've done a private shoot for a 2012 Altima.
Of
Sure.
course you have. Of course you have.
Listen, when it's coming to money, and we have,
Sure.
remember, I shoot in RAW. Okay, I have to bring in money now. So when I'm getting paid, I make do with what I got.
Right, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to shoot the basic whatever it
No,
is.
normally I'm not. And if it wasn't for me knowing somebody,
Okay. Fair.
I'm like, you know, it's not something that, like you said,
So your
I don't
car-
want to shoot a
Like I'm
stock car.
shooting cars, right? Or trucks, whatever the fuck it is. It better have some sort of modification that stands out. Otherwise, I'll probably pass on it. Unless you're gonna throw a lot of money, then I'll be like, I'll suck it up and shoot it.
Oh, okay.
But
Like money talks pretty much at that point.
Yeah, essentially.
I mean, you got to think, somebody's willing to throw money around and say, "Yeah, I just want you to shoot it." Why would I say no to that? You know,
Yeah.
it sucks, but do it.
Now my next question is: does it bother you guys when you send somebody edited photos or video, and they don't tag you on your work on social media? And I just thought of this: like, do you always watermark your pictures?
No, I don't. But that's just because I tried it when I first started, and it was a lengthy process, and I just kind of got away from it. And to me, I just don't feel like anybody's going to steal my content. And if they do, whoop-dee. Like, I already got the money from it, and I haven't had any issues with anybody, like, stealing my content. How does that make you feel? Out there.
And how does that make you feel? So I used to watermark my stuff when I first started, and it's always the first name, last name, photography, right? Sorry.
It's such an aggressive laugh.
Or it's something else, right?
Mhm.
And then I just stopped caring about the tag at the bottom because you own the copyright, right? No one needs to know who it is. Like once you take that photo, like all the metadata is there under the photo, right?
That is true.
And a lot of people don't give two shits who shot the car, right? If you're shooting, like for instance, like Corey's Supra, right? Recently shot that a few days ago. I put my watermark down there because maybe I just want to try something different. Maybe it'll invite more people to see my page. And we'll get to that at some point because that's a whole rabbit hole event. But because like if people want the photo bad enough, they're gonna take it. They're gonna
find a way to.
they're gonna crop out your whatever it is. But if they take the whole photo, you at least know who took the photo. And it doesn't really bother me a whole lot when people don't tag because the tag means nothing, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times the people who are liking the photos or sharing the photos, they're not sharing the photos because the photo is fucking looks great. They're sharing it because the car in the photo looks amazing, right? So, stating something like, well, exposure, right? Exposure doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
Well, exposure doesn't do a lot these days, right?
No, because honestly, it's just like social media.
Yeah.
Cars. I mean, I love cars. And I love shooting cars. But I mean, unless you got a multi-million-dollar car, or you have some crazy badass car in some wild location, it's just another photo.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you hate to say that, because a lot of us, this is our art. Like this is what we do as our like creative outreach or whatever word that is. But like,
Words.
listen, I do photography. Okay, I left the school thing a long time ago.
You don't do English.
But what's that? Was that thing I was supposed to get a good grade in? I didn't get that.
I think it really comes down to car people don't care, right? They only care about themselves. It is what it is, right? You may not think that. You're like, oh, I'm different. But no, I mean, everybody is selfish at some point in their life or for some reason, right? You're going to share that because everybody likes that feeling that you get, like, oh my God, this, everybody's hyping this up. They don't care who shot it. They just care that it looks cool, right? Yeah. And then I'll have a lot of people that friends. I'm not going to say who, but you might know who you are.
Don't point at me.
I'll have friends that I'll give shots to because, you're the homie, right? You've hooked me up in one way or another, and I'm going to do the same for you. The problem that I have is they'll send those photos to companies, and the companies don't care who shot the photo, right? And then they'll use that as marketing. And then you'll see it and you're like, huh, I only gave this photo to one person, and now they're making money off of that photo. That's what I hate, right?
Which technically you have the rights to it and you should have gotten paid for it.
Me giving you a photo does not mean you have the rights. I have all the rights because I took the photo, I edited it. I'm giving you the photo to post in hopes that, people like it and that you at least tag me because I did the work.
And you could get
potential
more clients.
Yeah, that doesn't give you the right to send it to these companies.
Monetize it.
Yeah. That's my biggest thing because it's happened to me a lot, right? I'll see a shot that I took end up in Super Street when that was a thing, right? And I'm like, huh, I didn't make any money off of that, right? How'd they get the photo?
When I do a video or something and I tag the companies of the equipment that I'm using, they're like, oh, can you send me this? And I'm like, bro, you could just repost it. It's there.
Yeah.
If you're going to pay me for it.
And then you have to send them this.
They want the raw file, the raw footage, so they could do whatever. And I'm like, no,
Then you have to send them the cease and desist letter, and then they're like, oh, okay, we'll take it down because no one wants to pay for shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, but kind of going on that though is kind of like what we were talking off camera too about how some entry level photographers, people that are trying to get their foot in the door, do free shoots and things like that. I understand that, and we've all been down that road, but if people don't pay for the thoughts that we have or our creative look on things, it's going to die off.
Right.
So it's if you enjoy an artist, feed into them, because that's how they make their living. You want to see more from them, you have to help them.
And the free shoots, man, I get it. You got to start somewhere, but I wouldn't.
Don't do it all.
I wouldn't post it on social media saying, "Hey, I'm shooting free whatever. Who wants in?" And then everybody and their brother is going to be like, "Oh yeah, I want free shots, right?" Just show up to an event and just take the photos and then post them later. Don't offer free shoots because you're going to affect people that have to do this for a living or make some sort of money. They've been doing this for a while. They make some sort of money. You're hurting them, and you don't realize it.
So do your client normally request a kind of set photos of what they want, or you kind of they leave it up to you to give them?
Most of my clients are just kind of it's my creative freedom of like, they want to. I'm assuming they want to see what I'm doing, unless they outline it in front of me and be like, "Hey, I'm really looking." Like
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, like I was telling you, that company reached out to me, and they told me, "Listen, these are the shots we need you to get. You have creative freedom amongst like where you shoot it and all that, but these are the photos we at least need." So
And that's the great difference between commercial photography and shooting your homie's car.
yeah,
Because they don't know what they want. They just know they want a cool shot, right?
they just want cool shit.
But a commercial, they'll be like, this is the shot we need. It has to be shot like this. I don't care how you do it. This is what we need.
Basically, a script.
Interesting.
Just
Okay.
like if you're doing a movie,
Right.
you know, you have to follow the script to the T.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same situation.
So now that you said the thing about the movie, it made me like think about when you obviously both work for a company. Do you stay there all day taking photos and videos in order to make ends meet at the end of the day? Because how does that work for you, a freelancer? Let's say, I don't know, for company B, and they'd be like, "Hey, we need these shots," but obviously they're not gonna be doing that all day long. So how do you get the shots that they want to make the video that you need by the end of the day?
So that's something that like I have a hard time with sometimes, at least from a video standpoint. Photos are a little bit easier for like my inventory photos. I have a set list of cars. When I'm done with that set list of cars, I go home.
Right.
So, but like as far as video, I just try not to spend too much time. Like I'll spend a few hours if I have to, but I really try to get them to lock down, when do you need me here? Because I have been to places where I have worked and done a video, and I've coordinated with them. They've said, "Okay, show up at this time. That way the car will be ready and you can just shoot it." I can tell you, every single time that happens, it's never ready.
So do you charge them extra because now you went over there on set time? And
Sometimes I do. I try to be lenient with people because things pop up, and especially in our industry, you know, unfortunately things do occur. I try to be as lenient as possible, but like I had a recent one that I did, and it was just a situation where I was like, "Listen, y'all are kind of splitting the bill. I've got to charge more because I had to help put the car together so I could shoot it. It's not my job.
right.
I'm just supposed to take photos." And
That makes a lot of sense.
sometimes I go a little too far.
Right.
After that.
I mean, I'm hourly at work, so it is nice. Well, I mean, like I said, I've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
So they trust me that I'm going to get the job done. So
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So if you guys were to recommend a camera and like a lens to start out with, what would you recommend?
Sony.
No, but like what? Be specific.
All right.
Like what would you recommend to somebody like, for example, when I started talking to you guys and then said I was gonna go with Canon, I sent you guys like, I asked you guys a bunch of questions and you know like, and you guys was like, this is a good entry camera. You know, like what would you guys recommend at that point? Just a novice person.
I mean, I thought the camera I started with was a great first starting camera. And it had a lot of capabilities to it as well. It could shoot in 4K, you know, even though it was a crop sensor, you could get good photos out of it.
Right.
So, I mean, honestly, I think the Sony A60, 300, 6400, you don't have to get like crazy spec'd out ones, but just find yourself an entry level camera that fits your needs and fits your like personality. Because Canon users over here, take my Canon film cameras back later. Different story.
just move that on.
By the way,
there.
these both Canons right here are his.
I shoot Canon film, but not digitally.
That's interesting though. It's kind of cool. Brian, what camera would you recommend?
So like me, I started with Canon T3i, which is at this point it's probably almost 15 to 20 years old, and I had it for 7 years. Like I think I still have it.
Wow.
It doesn't work, but I think I still have it. And I mean, I think at the time I paid like $500 for that camera, and that was in 2012, 2013, maybe, whenever it came out. And like I said, I got different lenses for it. I made it work. And even buying like used cameras, you can find hella good deals on Marketplace.
I was just about to say Facebook Marketplace. That's where I bought mine.
I wouldn't necessarily go to like Biggs or anything unless you want something with a warranty.
What's Biggs?
Biggs is a camera store in Charlotte, so one of our local camera stores. It's
Oh.
where I get like all my film developed. You can go buy film.
Is that where you rent some of the cameras?
I don't rent locally. I rent online
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
because I get a really good deal online.
Interesting.
Agree with that.
I think the last time I looked, now you could quote me on this or
I will.
whatever, but the last time I looked at Biggs, they required a deposit.
So
I don't know if that's true anymore, but that's just what I remember.
they only require a deposit for first-time users. But the one thing I will say that I don't care about Biggs, I understand why they do it because it's for insurance purposes, but you have to have a credit card and it has to have your name on it.
Oh.
So, like, let's say I rented the lens, y'all can't go pick it up without
Gotcha.
Your
me
ID,
there
yeah,
because you have to have your ID and your
Credit card.
Credit
on file.
card. Because I said you can check out with a debit card, but you can't take ownership of the lens until you do it with a credit card because it's for their insurance purposes.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
I guess it's way like, I guess a debit card you can get away with it. Like if you debit.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, you could just cancel the debit card or
With a
something.
credit card, they can just charge you for the full amount or something.
That makes
But, I mean,
sense.
how's their rental prices?
I don't feel like their rental prices on some of the things are that bad. In all honesty, I've rented a 70-200 Sony E-mount a few times. I've done the f4 and the f2.8. The f2.8 was like, I think, $150 for a week, which I mean sounds like a lot, but when you think about it, you've got it for an entire week. So if you know you're going on a trip
Right.
or like you're doing a racing event or something, like, okay, you might get better photos because of it. Like my zoom lens is only 105 millimeters. That's not really going to get me very far if I'm at a track.
Right.
You'll get some shots, but not very good.
Yeah.
But they're not bad.
I'm going to put my plug in real quick because if you use my code, I get some money off my next
Go
one.
for it.
So I'll give you the code after I talk about it.
It's code BRY.
But I use lensrentals.com and they're phenomenal, right? They have everything camera related under the sun. You can bodies, lenses, GoPros, tripods, anything camera related you can rent. They also offer different types of insurance. So they'll have like a lens cap insurance, which is just for like your basic stuff, or then you can do like damage and drops and stuff.
Okay.
And the insurance isn't a lot. So I'm renting, so I have an R7 that I use every day. I rented another one because I have an event for this weekend, right?
Right.
And I don't want to keep swapping lenses because that just takes time. So it's just
Makes sense.
makes sense to have a second camera, right? So I'm renting this R7, right? And it's got a 24-240 that is also rented. So this and this for a 20-day rental was $300
That's not bad.
with insurance.
That's not.
That's also with shipping, and it's 1 day shipping from Tennessee.
Do you have to ship it back on
Yeah,
your own
they-
dime?
No,
Or they give you a return
Your
label?
return label, everything.
Wow, that's
It's cheap. And
Thanks
so
for putting me on.
for instance, so like when I go to races and stuff, and I hate using that lens, but if I want to rent like a Canon makes a really good 100-500, and it's a L lens. I think that lens sells for $2,600 new, right?
Yeah.
I can rent it for $150 for 7 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you gotta think,
That's
especially if you're wanting to like get into it too. Like you want to get into
Try it.
Rent every lens that you can
Yes.
possibly think of.
That's kind of like that'd be cool. Let us know if you want to see this, because maybe we could do like a video of where everybody rents a different lens, and we all like we'll go out and shoot either cars or.
Yeah.
Dude, for shits and giggles, like I'll look up the most expensive lens that they offer for both Sony, Nikon, and Canon. And it's usually a prime, and it goes
Probably
for
the
like,
85
it goes for
millimeter.
like 15 grand, right? If you buy it.
No.
Right.
Probably,
I think the
probably like
rent-
500, 600 mils.
Really?
Yeah, I
Because
think
like Jamie Price just bought his, and I think he dropped like 10, 15,000.
I think the rentals are
One
like
lens.
maybe
On one lens.
$500.
But like for him, I think he said he used to rent lenses for the events, but he shoots for like Formula One, does like
neat.
Lamborghini.
So here's my thing with renting versus buying, right? Obviously, you could buy it, save the cash, right? Go buy 100 to 500 for $2,600. I've rented that same lens 4 or 5 times now, and I still haven't come close to the initial price of buying that lens.
yeah,
Well, because you said you're paying like what
150.
Like 150.
for 7 days,
Yeah.
and normally when you're gonna go shoot somewhere, you'll be over there for the weekend.
Kinda like
So I'm
a-
only renting for 3 days, right? Well, at a time, 3 days, right? I'm still not even coming close to the initial buying price.
Oh,
Of
that
the
is
lens.
ridiculous.
It's just
That's
like
that's
what you
cool.
buy.
So what's the name of the website again?
Lensrentals.com.
And what's your code?
I don't know. I have to figure that out. But
Jesus
it,
Christ. So
it
all the
tells me
information-
it tells me at the end of the rental, they're like, "Hey,
Oh,
here's
okay.
this code. Share it, and you get $25 off." Or
Oh,
something
that's what he
like
wants. He just wants everybody to use his code so he can get free rentals.
Smart plug.
I like your style, B.
By the way, I did remember what we were talking about. We were talking about bad clients.
Yes.
So, I don't know where we left off, but I think like a lot of the bad client stuff is just more of communication. Know the expectations of your client, know what they're expecting at the end of not just the shoot, at the end of when you deliver that content. Because at the end of the day, your goal is to have a happy client every time.
Right.
It's not always that case, but you know, I feel like a lot of it is just put a smile on. I personally don't like to burn bridges to the best of my abilities, because especially in an industry like cars, you never know who that person knows, or they might have a lot of higher end people that they are associated with, and you don't want to get blacklisted.
Yeah. So how do you guys go about whether people canceling on you? Do you require a deposit? And like, what time frame do you give a client in order to relay all that information?
Before that, I found it. So, you got a Canon RF 600 millimeter. It's a prime lens. It's an f4, right? 7-day rental is $480. That lens is 10 grand.
So when you think about it, yeah,
Well, what would you use that lens for, though? I can't
Racing
picture. Oh,
or
racing.
sports or
I feel like
really-
nature photography. Cause
Yeah,
I'm sure you got to shoot from real far away.
You can get like some probably or birds, animals.
yeah,
Interesting.
fast moving subjects.
Yes.
Wow, that's insane though. 10 grand for a lens, that just blew my mind. I didn't even know lenses cost that much.
And my she's not really my aunt. She's my mom's cousin.
Uh huh.
She was into photography, and a lot of her stuff was like 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 grand for some of her lenses.
But
No.
people still want free shoots. Just remember.
Right, yeah.
Well, I mean, I do remember you guys telling me like get the kit lens, and then when you waste money, buy good glass.
Yep.
So
Buy glass before bodies.
Yeah.
learn your body, master it, keep learning. And
However,
just buy
there's a
glass.
caveat. They say gear isn't everything. It kind of is, depending on your subject. So like, I took the Canon T3i to motorsport stuff. It did great because I was a shitty photographer back in the day. And I'm still kind of,
We're all still there.
yeah, still kind of trash, right? But I have experience. I could never take that camera to like VIR and shoot motorsports. It's just not fast enough.
Interesting.
The autofocus is not where it is today, right?
Yeah.
The camera that I have now is like 30 years into the future.
We're
versus-
autofocus and stuff.
Yeah, from where I started, right? Because, I mean, you got eye tracking, vehicle tracking, animal tracking, everything, right? People tracking. I didn't have that. You had to like manually focus on something and just track it.
I'm sure that's had to be tough because I try to use the manual focus just to practice.
It's
If you move a hair, if you're not on the tripod, forget about it. For me, the picture never came out unfocused.
And like
it was hard.
the frame, like the burst rate on this is nuts. I think it's like 30 frames a second in electronic shutter.
that's 1 frame a second.
Yeah,
Wow.
like it's
So like the
yeah. It'll do
Versus
it
like-
if I had a battery in here, but
Oh, so you just brought props, is what you're saying.
I've got it.
So these aren't real.
I've
These
got
are just
everything,
fake.
these are fake
props.
rentals.
I've got everything. What are you talking about? Let's see. I keep talking. I'm doing my thing.
What were we talking about? My brain. I'm so.
I feel like I'm brain dead now. I forgot. Jesus.
But that's all mechanical. If I go to an electronic, it's like double that.
Wow.
Well, so like, some kind of talking about technology. It's just like the Sony A9. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yeah,
Most
that
recent one.
camera is insane.
It's honestly like
Real recognize real, but
it's a cheat code in the photography world.
Really?
So Sony A9 came out with the global shutter recently. The global shutter basically takes photos before you take a photo.
Wait, what the?
yeah.
What?
So it's like AI.
Before you hit the button and the photo's already there?
So there's a.
How does it know?
So basically, the camera's constantly taking
Smart
photos.
shit.
Yeah, the camera's smarter than us, is what we're saying.
Oh,
So it's constantly taking photos, and you can actually have a timer. So, like, let's say you're shooting motorsports or you're shooting nature or anything, and you see a car go by or a bird go by, and you're like, oh man, I was just a second too late. A normal photographer is going to go, well, I missed that shot. But somebody who has that camera can go back and
There's no reason for anybody with that camera to miss a shot. ever.
no, like it's honestly a cheat code because you can go. I think it's like up to a
crap.
minute before.
what?
Like it's. I don't
You know
know
all
if
the
it's
photos
maybe
you could
not
take in a
much,
minute?
but
That's a
like,
lot of photos in a minute.
oh, and it shoots 120 photos a second.
Yeah.
It's like.
Now, does it have
Big.
rolling shutter issues? Probably not. It's probably a stacked sensor or something.
I'm not 100% sure because that camera's so far out of my price range, it's not even worth me doing the research on it.
Sell the car, buy
think
a fucking camera.
I think it's like a $9,000 camera body. Or like
Just the body?
7,000, something like
That's
that.
insane.
Wow, that's just chop change.
Yeah, well, sorry for Canon users.
I mean, shoot.
Just trying to be like Larry Chen out here and get.
I know. We should get.
Canon
We
to
need.
sponsor
Yeah. We need a sponsor. We said that earlier. We're like Canon sponsor us.
Canon
You know what's
sponsor us.
crazy? He is the only motorsports photographer that Canon sponsors.
That's interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool though. He does take some good photos and videos.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? Even he said it. He's like, I'm a nobody. I just take pictures and I capture what goes on in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does take great photos, but he's
his
like,
Pikes, like his Pikes Peak and
Mhm.
some of the like old Gymkhana shots.
Money.
but see, like, that's the other thing is like, just enjoy it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't do it for everybody else. He does it because that's something he's passionate about. And look how far it's gotten him in life.
Pretty much. This is why I got into it. I started taking photos with my phone and doing like blogging with my phone and stuff, and then I was like, I want to learn more. I want to
Yeah.
invest. I want to
You
learn how everything
stole
works.
someone's editing style and
I did not steal your style.
Stole all of our advice, picked our brains.
I
and
asked
look
that
at
you
him
guys
now.
gave me.
I looked at his photos like I'm definitely sure I shot this.
Are you stealing my content? He cropped your photo. That's right.
Yeah.
He took your watermark
Oh
out of
my
it.
God.
I saw it.
You should be proud though, because it's very rare when you like give somebody advice and they do a good job with it, and then you're like, damn, I kind of.
Damn, this bitch is better than me.
Damn, do I need to step up my game? Like,
I should just quit.
well, it was a fun run while we had it.
I'm gonna retire for a second time.
You guys are idiots. Well, I think we can wrap it up there.
Nah, we gotta keep going.
We we already got like over an hour and
Yeah, we good.
We want to be a record holder here.
Yeah, there's more. There's more to discuss.
There's more shit talking to be made.
go for it. What you got?
You really don't have any more questions?
You guys went through this whole big ass list that I made. You
Well-
think? Look at this.
Okay, well,
It just looks big on there.
it's because it's in dark mode.
That's good.
Once again, this is why you can't bring us into a room together to talk about shit.
I mean, we could definitely do this again though, and get more into the nitty gritty
it'd
of
be
like
in-
how camera works and.
Well, and I think it'd be interesting too. Like, you can pick his brain a lot from the racing side of things.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and we can talk about the car stuff and how we interact with the car world as photographers.
Fuck car people.
Exactly what he said. But I mean, like, yeah.
How did you get interested in like shooting cars on the racetrack? Because I know it's hard because there's not many locations.
All my friends did that cool shit, and I was like, I'm fucking lame.
Bro, time out. Before you continue, Mr. Nah, I don't want to drink.
Yeah.
Listen, it's there.
He was sipping on that Gatorade the whole time.
I'm fine. I would have been okay, but since you forced my hand to have it, I'm gonna drink it.
Bro, look, I'm gonna tell you something. If you ever go to a Latino's or Hispanic house and you don't leave with food or something to drink,
Bro,
that's on you, bro.
They tried to get me to bring everything home
Greeks are the
last
same way.
weekend.
Oh yeah, it was last weekend for my
Fuck,
birthday.
dude. I was... The nap that I took...
Oh, I bet.
Bro, we ate from that food all week.
His
and
mom.
we gave food to everybody.
His mom made, like, an appetizers, right? And I'm thinking this is, like, the main course, right? No. Takes, like, an hour off. She's like, okay, bro, you need to come get food. I'm like, what? There's more?
Dude, that was like
It was good, though. It was fucking fire. Like, the potato salad. Fire.
my wife's cousin. Her husband's Hispanic too, and so like when they did their baby shower and stuff, oh my
That was a
god,
lot of food, bro.
dude, it's so good though.
It's definitely a lot of food. And drinks, but you guys don't drink that much. I'm not big of a drinker.
I'm not either. I
So
don't.
just, this is it right here. And then my other drink is fucking E85 because I go through it so damn fast.
I guess my drink is photography gear.
Yeah.
I'm a whore for gear,
Shut the fuck up.
as every photographer is. Don't come.
That was so
Hold on.
cheesy.
Hold on.
That's
Do we need to talk
My-
about the?
My only drink is photography.
Shut the fuck up.
And on that note, we're gonna go kill ourselves.
No, seriously, I think we could wrap her up right there and then come back to it at a different time.
Don't matter to me. Whatever you want to do.
Well, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Wait a minute, we were...
I don't know what you're looking at your phone for over there. You act like
He's like, I'm just scrolling through Instagram.
it's like I'm done over here.
Over with this podcast.
I didn't know you were... Fuck. Fuck.
Asshole, being on your phone.
Yeah, I know.
Phone child.
Other information will be in the description below, so make sure to give them a follow and check them out. Thank you for watching. Share with your friends and family. Until the next one.